Hi there. So I'm going to talk through a little demo of how I use the Metahuman animator in the Unreal Fellowship for animation. I thought I'd just record myself doing it in a test project and time-lapse it and then talk over it. So that's what we're doing. So initially I went to Chat GPT and asked it to create me a little bit of Shakespearian text that talks about the wonderful virtues of the Unreal Fellowship. And I recorded that using the iPhone with the Metahuman animator app, like the LiveLink AI app. Once I've done that, I need to go to the capture sources, create a capture source in the content browser, and use that to find the IP address of the phone. And then use the in tools, there is a capture manager tool that allows you to bring in the content. So you can see me bringing in the content from the phone. It takes a little while to move. Quite a lot of this video, the reason it's time lapse is that there's quite a lot of slow waiting for things. So while the video is downloading from the phone to Unreal, I'm bringing in a Metahuman from from Quixelbridge. I'll just do one of the standard ones. While I'm waiting for that to download and import, I'm just playing around with some of the skylight settings and just starting to build a post-process volume so I can create the look that I'm going for. I'm sort of trying to get a bit of grading, but I want it to be done in with the light. Metahumans work really well with really good quality lighting, so focusing on the lighting here. Got rid of the height map and the volumetric fog because that was in the way a bit. I wanted this fast-moving cloudy scene in the background, make it look kind of moody. I'm going to be right close up to the character, so it's all about the background. One thing to know is when you're using the Metahuman animator, or just using a Metahuman, is you have to set the LOD to 0 rather than -1, which you'll find in the assets components. So now that the footage has been imported, checking I've got it, making lots of saves because every time you bring something in, it needs to be saved. Now at the moment, I'm just creating all of the various components that you need to create Metahuman animator. We'll go through those later. The very first thing you need is to create a Metahuman identity. So to do that, you right-click in the content browser, go to the Metahuman if you haven't got the Metahuman plugin already installed, and you import the footage, and you have to create some frames that will be used to sort of determine the position of the face. So you promote a frame, you can see the promote frame button at the top. At the bottom is a little camera icon. You click on that and you move to a side view, each side, front view. And then we just give it a little check. There's a button at the top there, the window that just shows you a split view. So we can check that the eyes are lined up, that all the face is lined up from the video with the 3D mesh. Next, need to do the teeth. So we create a new pose, a teeth pose, which we do in the left window, which is slightly out of view. Promote that as a frame for the front again, and do fit teeth. And then we go to prepare for performance. Now at this point, it'll probably ask you what sort of Metahuman body you're using. You need to identify the Metahuman body type that you're going to use in the actual scene. And because I use Gavin, I think it was a medium build tall body. And then that prepare for performance will take all of that video and try to map it to the Metahuman identity. And there's another step that comes later that actually makes this usable. So we'll come to that. So now we go into the Metahuman performance editor. And in here, we bring in the identity that we've just created, Metahuman identity, and the track that we created. That's the original recording. Now, while that's importing, I am editing the audio because there's a horrible buzz in my computer at the moment that's making the microphone buzz. So I have to do this post-editing on any video I do, including the one I'm doing at the moment. So I'm just using Adobe Audition, just using some effects to filter things out. Now, what's happening at the moment in the background in Unreal is that it's actually mapping the all of the movements to the facial control rig. And it's quite a complicated process that it does for you automatically, but it does take a long time, a lot of processing, requires a lot of CPU and GPU. So it's just using most of your computers. There's very little else I could do at the moment. So I jumped over to using the Adobe Audition to clean up the audio. So you see I'm just going through lots of different effects, just trying to see what gets rid of the hum. And it is a nice thing to do as well for any sort of audio you make, if you've got dialogue, just to give it that sort of that resonance. You want it to sound good quality. So it's still going at the moment. It's still rendering. It's going through each frame. So the image on the left, the video on the left is my recording from the iPhone. And you can see it going frame by frame, just applying content into the animator. And you can see all the little control rig. You've got the control board there for the face. All the parts are moving. This is how clever the animator is, Metahuman animator. It takes all of that information that's been applied to the mesh and applies it to the control rig. That means that you have the ability to move the control rig later as well if you need to. Sometimes we quite a lot of waiting. Right, so once we've got the information, we can call out an animation, export the animation, and we want to include the head movement because we're not doing the body on this one. And then I export a level sequence, which is very similar, except it puts it all into a level sequence for you. And there is quite a lot of sitting around waiting. There's not much else the computer can do at these points. Yeah, yawning. I've had my coffee. Now, once you've built an identity, you can reuse it on multiple tracks. I have done it before while the phone's been in a new position, but ideally the phone wouldn't move. So you create a calibration with the 3 head positions that I mentioned and the teeth bed. And then you can reuse that on multiple takes you can do later. So it's still baking. This is normally what I'd get on my phone, or I'd do a bit of browsing on Instagram or LinkedIn, but I'm on camera, so I try to look like I'm focused on the task at hand. There's not much else you can do on the computer when it's doing this. It does draw quite a lot of resources, and you're only going to slow it down by doing something else. There we go. Looks like it's almost done. There we go. I'm saving everything because I don't want to lose anything at this point. I've now spent a good 20 minutes waiting for these things to render, and you can see that the video content is in exactly the same place as the 3D mesh. And because I selected when I exported this to choose the Gavin model to apply it to, it's imported me a new Gavin for Metahuman. So I need to go back into this again and change the LOD. So I go to LOD sync, change that to 0 so I don't lose his hair. Put him back in the right place. I'm going to go to my camera view and have a look at the camera and see what it's doing. And you can see it's applied my performance directly over his head. So now I just need to do a little bit of cinematic stuff. So this isn't the best take. The phone was too far away from my face when I was doing it. So that's a note. I'll make sure that the phone is in a good place. So I'm applying a camera shot to a level sequence that I've created. Put the f-stop really low. I've got a post-process volume in there, which I'm using to make sure that I've got some depth of field. I'm applying a LUT to get a decent grade. I'm putting a dirt mask texture on just to give it a little bit of grit on the lens. And changing the depth of field settings, which will also get overridden by the camera, to be honest. Oh yeah, I'm in the cine camera there. So in the cine camera, setting depth of field, and now I can have a look at it on the screen. You can see I've actually got a second screen on my left there where I'm constantly looking at the camera view no matter what I'm doing. So even though I'll bring it back to the main screen, I'll always have my main camera visible to me on the left. So as I'm moving things around in the editor, I can be checking things. And at this point, I think my son's walked in and disturbed me, so you might see him in the background. Just putting some lighting in. I've gone for the classic 3-point light. So I've got a strong box light in the back to do a bit of highlighting. You can see the control rig there, which is really useful. So I can go in and edit the control rig. I can add an additive layer in the sequence and adapt the control rig. I put in a massive plane to do a bit of bounce lighting. I just put a reflective material on it. In the end, it didn't really do much, so I took it out. Just having a little bit of a play with creating different looks with it. You see, I created a fully reflective ball, and I tried making it fully white, and it created a nice reflection, but it didn't really bounce the light enough. It was actually looked fine without it. So I just modified the post-process volume to change the slope and the toe on the film grade, which just put a little bit of color back into the light, rather back into the dark bits of the render. So not cheating, it's what you do on a post-process, on a post effect. And there's the end result. And now you can listen to the full speech. So you can see the full animation here now in real time. A little bit of a twitch there. As you see, I went to the left, went to the right, bared my teeth, and they became the frames. And then to give myself a clue when I'd actually started, I wink. I blink. There you go.
Hark! Attend ye, digital artisans and crafters of dreams. For I speak of a marvel, a tool of such sheen, Unreal Engine, the fifth of its name, plus 3, a beacon of creation in the vast digital sea. In realms of pixels and codes, it doth shine so bright, rendering worlds in splendor, turning day to night, with light so dynamic and physics so true. It paints our fancies in hues most vivid and new. Behold the nanite, in its glory a sight to behold, crafting landscapes and kingdoms in stories untold. Lumen, the bringer of light, in shadows and gleam, illuminating our scenes like a midsummer dream. And lo, the fellowship, a gathering of minds, in the cult of animation where creativity binds. They toil and they tinker in this digital forge, breathing life into characters as their narratives gorge. From the depths of the opera where once I did dwell, to the peaks of Unreal, a tale I do tell. For in this engine our dreams take flight in virtual stages under the spotlight. So let us embark on this journey so bright, with Unreal as our vessel in this digital night. For in this realm our art doth truly thrive. In pixels and shaders our visions come alive. Join me, ye dreamers, in this fellowship grand, with Unreal as our guide in this virtual land. For here, in this space, our stories unfold in whispers of code and visions bold. Farewell, and may your pixels ever be bright in the wondrous world of Unreal's light.